Good evening. Welcome to today's NGX Daily Market Summary. I do this every day about after market close. So while the video goes up by 6 p.m. West African time, that is Nigerian time, I tend to record 20-30 minutes before then just to encapsulate as much information as I can. For everyone who's taken out the time to subscribe, thank you for doing so. I greatly appreciate. If by chance you're listening or watching and you haven't subscribed, please do so. You can also like and share as well. You don't have to wait to the end of the video. So please do me a favor, a small request. Take out the time to share on your stories, your WhatsApp stories, IG stories, TikTok stories, Snapchat stories, even though Snapchat be more late fun content, but there's nothing wrong in doing that. I think with time, gradually, I'd get there. So I'm looking at maybe in a couple of days, I'll start to push on TikTok. I'm not decided yet what I'm going to do with my, let's say, official or work Instagram, but I'll think of something. As always, please note that this is not financial or trading or personal finance advice. It's just my opinions, information about the market, my thoughts and views about the market. In no shape or form should you act on this, except you can come by your own volition to the same conclusion as mine. I mean, if that's the case, that's fine. All share index gained 0.41% today. From the look of things, it seems we have recovered last week's losses. Last week's the index fell 0.94%. So far, today is Wednesday. Monday, I believe we gained 0.3%. Tuesday, we gained 0.29. And so if you add that, that's 0.59. 0.59 plus 4.1. That's essentially what 1%. So we seem to have at least recovered last week's losses and made slight gains if my math is correct. Now, the index measures the average performance of stocks. Some stocks will do better than the index, and some stocks will do worse than the index. The top gainers for today are from the agri space. FTN Cocoa up 10% to close at 5 naira 94 kobo. Telaram, I think it's a conglomerate on the, largely focused in the industrial goods space, up 10% to close at 12 naira and 10 kobo. Beggar Paints, I suspect that the numbers we have for Beggar Paints, this is looking, it's looking close to a 52-week high. Let me just confirm on another device. I'm curious as to why this stock seems to be moving in such a manner. I mean, what do we have? It's up 9.86% today. I am right. It is a 52-week high for this firm. If very likely it's all-time high. I'd have to confirm the all-time high status, but it is a 52-week high. And when we say 52-week high, it simply means the highest price point that the stock has traded in the last 52 weeks. Suno Assurance up 8.91%. Suno Assurance is an insurance firm to close at essentially 6 naira because there's not much difference between 5 naira 99 kobo and 6 naira. Livestock Fields rounds up the top 5 gainers up 8.11% to close at 8 naira. On the losing end of things, we have May and Baker. May and Baker is a pharmaceutical firm, down 9.97% to close at 16 naira 25 kobo. Union Daikon, a salt firm, even though I suspect that the firm seems to be dormant at the moment, up or down rather, excuse me. Union Daikon down 9.72% to close at 9 naira 75 kobo. CI9 leasing, I suspect that what we have, it's probably the news of an impending debt and equity capital raise is depressing the price. I'm due an audio episode. I probably should do that over the weekend. So if you're not following on Spotify, you may want to do so. I think the stock should trade much higher, but I'd work out my walk-ins on Spotify and maybe a video over the weekend or sometime next week, Monday. If we don't have any major banking results, my hunch tells me before the week runs out, we may have at least one banking result out. So CNI leasing down 7.69% to close at 6 naira. Thomas Yacht is a stationary maker, textbooks, exercise books rather. I think they're also going to do tissue as well. So Thomas Yacht down 7.0% to close at 2 naira 51 kobo. While deep capital seems to be range trading. I need to check the numbers. If it is range trading, then I'll probably include it in my watch list for a pre-market watch list for tomorrow, because a few days ago I saw deep capital as well. So at deep capital down 6.52% to close at 1 naira and 72 kobo. Now to the most actively traded stock by volume. In fact, I need to check RDL numbers. FCMB led the way with 287 million shares traded. Again, I keep saying this. I'm sounding like a broken record, but what else can I do? We need to have better disclosure rules. If you work out the numbers of this firm probably has traded almost 8 billion shares and the last 5-6 trading days. I believe yesterday or the day before yesterday, you had over 400 million shares traded. Yesterday, I think you had a bit over 200 million shares traded. Add this all together, 400 plus 200 plus 287, and probably you're looking at what? 880 plus million shares traded for a company with about, I think, 39 billion shares outstanding or shares issued. We need disclosure. Who is buying these shares and who is selling these shares? The quantum of shares being traded means that we should have disclosure on this. So FCMB was the most actively traded stock by volume. Nigerian Breweries, that's 50.4 million shares, fairly large volume. I suspect very likely that's an institutional play. So I wonder who is buying and who's selling. Aradel blew out the charts today. In terms of value traded, I'll come to that in a bit. But Aradel number 3 in terms of volume, 43.4 million shares traded. Access Corporation, parent company of the popular Access Bank, with 40.2 million shares traded, while Zenith Bank rounds up the top 5 with 29 million shares traded. Now, moving to most actively traded stocks by value, Aradel blew out the chart. 23 billion worth of shares traded. So I wonder who's buying. I mean, the quantum of this is quite huge for Aradel. I suspect this probably is one of the singular biggest, I mean, maybe top 3, top 4. I think the transaction by Fola Adeola exiting probably had to be the biggest trade so far in Aradel. I would have to check. In fact, I can actually check. Please give me a minute. That's the downside to recording on video. You can't pause to check, and I don't like to minimize out of my screen so it doesn't disrupt your flow. I'm googling. So okay, so this actually beats. This is huge. This is huge. This actually beats the shares sold by Fola Adeola. What we have, because he sold what 18.2 million shares valued at 10.9 billion, while the trade we have here for Aradel is 43.4 million shares valued at 23 billion. So definitely this probably is the singular biggest transaction, except I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, do let me know in the comment section. To the best of my knowledge, this is the singular biggest trade in Aradel shares, at least since I've started monitoring the firm, since it got listed on the NGX. MB, Nigerian Breweries, they stand second in terms of most actively traded stocks by value, 3.5 billion shares traded. FCMB, closely following Nigerian Breweries with 3.1 billion naira worth of FCMB shares traded. GTCO, a distant fourth position with 2 billion naira worth of shares traded, while Zenith Bank rounds up the top 5 most actively traded stocks by value with 1.9 billion worth of shares traded. What else do we have? A couple of firms dropped their forecasts. Sterling Financial, University Press, Geregu Power, and VFD Group dropped earnings forecast. And I take each one by one. Now, Custodian Investment dropped their forecast, but it came after I had set up my slides for this video. So I will delve a bit into that in the audio version. I tend to record the video version before the audio version. I'm not sure. I've announced a couple of changes to the schedule. I very likely would have the video version move to 7 o'clock Nigerian time, PM, while the audio version will move to 6 p.m. I'll remain at 6 p.m. Nigerian time. I'm not decided yet. One of them will have to switch. I suspect I probably may switch the audio version. So that gives me more time to encapsulate anything that breaks out after I prepare my slides. So the few I have here so far, and I thought to include this because I don't see many people talking about forecast. And I will take one of these stocks and use as an example so you understand why forecasts are important, or what you can use forecast to do. So Q4 numbers for this is Sterling Financial Holdco. And Sterling Financial Holdco, by the way, is the parent company of the popular Sterling Bank, the one what's it called? The one customer bank, as well as the alternative bank, what I like to call the Alte Bank. So for the fourth quarter, firm is projecting, and fourth quarter for this firm is October, November, December. The quarter ended December 31st, 2025. What's the firm projecting? 149 billion in gross earnings and 16.2 billion in profit after tax. While for University Press third quarter, when I saw this, I had to double check my numbers, because if you're saying for University Press, by the way, which is a firm in the publishing space, if you were saying you're dropping your third quarter forecast for third quarter ending December 2025, it's I'm just wondering. I get it now. I get it now. So yeah, University Press runs a rather odd financial year, March to December. I'm just checking the most recent numbers they dropped. Q1 ended July. No, Q1 ended. Let's see. Q1 ended June. Okay, so this is fair enough. The only challenge is it makes reconstruction, because what you can do with the forecast is you say, look, University Press, for instance, has its Q1 numbers out so far. Okay, I still have some time. If you're on LinkedIn, I don't know if you're crossing over LinkedIn. It's looking like I probably are going to exceed the 15-minute mark. I honestly don't know what to do with LinkedIn. Maybe I'll look at premium version of LinkedIn, something that lets me have longer videos, because it can be incredibly frustrating when you see that I can't upload a 15-minute video. Why is that the case? Why is that the case? So back to my explanation. With University Press, what you have is that you have the first quarter numbers out. First quarter ended June. These are the numbers for the third quarter. So you can actually take the 2 quarters, the first quarter actual, which are the actual numbers, the third quarter numbers, and if you put the two together and you annualize or multiply by two, you can kind of figure out what this firm will do. Now, why I'm saying that it's not the most optimal way is, ideally, if you have 2 consecutive quarters and the third quarter, you can then use that to work out the remaining fourth quarter for the year if you have your run rate. So it's quite useful, but that's the challenge with firms, rather odd financial years. So I guess one will have to wait till what's it called? October. By October, the second quarter number should be out. Second quarter for this firm will end in September. So, but all the way, since we're here, I'm just looking at the numbers. What do we have? First quarter numbers is for the period ended what? This is third quarter ended December 2025. What I have for the first quarter numbers are quite low. So it's possible that you're having an uptick. So all in all, I think these numbers will be much better compared to the second quarter, probably may even be better than the first quarter. That's University Press. This is Geregu Power. I don't have, can you still see this? Yes. So it's odd. Typically, they should have the logo somewhere. Maybe I cut out the logo. But so this is what Geregu Power, and if you follow on Spotify, I think I've done a Spotify episode on this firm. Yep, I've done a Spotify episode on this firm, I think, but I'm sure I've written on it. So you check out greentickertales.com. So just Google it on your browser, search Geregu Greenticker Tales, and all the entries will pop up and all that. So the numbers aren't bad. 63 billion in revenue, 12.1 billion in profits. I probably, maybe for the fun of it, let's see how the weekend goes. And maybe for the fun of it, I'll try and do some forecast and put all these numbers together, one of these firms, and let's just see what we arrive at. And this is for the company known as VFD Group. I can call it a conglomerate or investment holding company. What do we have? For the fourth quarter ending December 2025, a company is forecasting 24 billion in gross earnings and a profit of 2.4 billion. This is rather low. I mean, that's really, really low. So why is that the case? Um, it's not the impairments. I'm not sure why. I need to put this. Okay, finance cost seems rather high. In fact, you can see that you can see clearly why this company wants to raise equity, because if you're making what 24 billion in gross earnings, I mean your finance cost is essentially taking almost 50% or bit over 50% of your revenue. So that's the beauty of these numbers. It helps you forecast and the likes. And kudos to the fans for doing so. An audio version of this podcast will be up on greentickertales.com at about the same time you're going to listen to this. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube Music. I thank you to everybody who signed up. Unfortunately, Spotify has essentially for the Nigeria and some other countries, there are no comment sections. I can't see comments, no comments, nothing. So if you're following on Spotify, big ups to everyone who's doing so. I greatly appreciate. I just can't appreciate you properly with a written response because there are no comment sections. I'm baffled as to why they did that. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I need to tweet at the Spotify team, maybe. You can also find content on greentickertales.com. So thank you all for joining. Have yourselves a lovely, lovely, lovely day ahead.